three-time world champion. And you're listening to the American Adversaries Drive Time. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Bang!
All right, welcome back to the show, folks. That's right. You got the American Adversaries Drive Time Prime Time Show. We'll take you right to 7 o'clock. 407-774-8255 is the number. I'm Christopher Hart, along with the chairman of the board, Michael McBath. We're here live in the studio. If you don't believe me, go to YouTube and dial in American Adversaries TV, and you'll see us because Lucas Paris has the head cam. Oh, I'm sorry, the Periscope up and running. That's right. And Nicholas Cicero is on the bridge, so we are in good hands tonight. Mike, we were talking earlier, we were going to go into this thing about Michelle.
Yeah, she's an amazing individual. I don't know if I say that in a positive way. I actually like to reflect back to the article in Newsweek again. For those of our listeners, they had to go back, and that May 4th, the whole article about Obama, which
was their last print issue.
Right, was the last print issue that they dedicated to their feelings toward the Obama administration for this last 6.5 years. And in essence, they pretty well summarized it that, boy, were we wrong. And we were really wrong. Yeah. And then they sort of gave I know. It's like your apologies are not good enough after an economy that was probably the weakest we've ever had since in any recovery.
The weakest sustained recovery in modern history.
Right. And then they really went after Obama, and rightfully so, because as we all know, he was never vetted in a proper sense. Yep. He was protected from day one. His achievement level was probably less than a third grader.
He's an affirmative action president.
Right. It was pathetic. And they apologized. I mean, this is not just me making the statement. Read the article. Yep. And it's something that I think most people who did their homework back 6.5 years ago would have agreed with both you and me, Chris, that this guy was a joke. Unfortunately, the joke is on us. But I found this out the other day, and I had to laugh, but not really laugh. Michelle is supposedly, I guess, a Harvard graduate. Now, remember, my brother was Phi Beta Kappa at Dartmouth, buddy. So
take that.
Michelle, here's the difference. He can count, and I'm going to give you an example of that. Michelle recently reminded attendees at a naturalization ceremony that the Founding Fathers weren't born in America.
Oh,
well,
the Founding Fathers.
Yeah. Now, what history class did you pass at Harvard, Michelle? Michelle, of the 56 who signed the Declaration of Independence and participated in drafting the Constitution, 48 were born in America.
Yep.
Now, you're a Harvard grad? No, geez, I'm surprised you can dial the phone. I mean, realistically, how can you be so wrong at a presentation to all these people who legitimately came to the United States that we have to be so proud of that did the citizen route the right way?
Well, I wonder if it's wrong or just history revisionism. Because she said when Obama first got elected, I believe, she said, we're going to have to change the conversation. We're going to have to change our understanding of history. We're going to have to change this. We're going to have to change that.
I got my theory on this. Okay. Remember when these were the Founding Fathers weren't born in America, according to her, right?
Right.
I think she was thinking of her husband. I mean,
you set me up for that. I didn't see that.
I know,
one coming.
But when I read that, and then Chris, we were talking about just a little bit earlier. You referenced Social Security, and I think for our listening audience, if you're aware of this, they actually are in the next few months. When you get your check, it's going to be labeled the federal benefit payments.
Benefit?
Isn't that disgusting? This is not a benefit. It's your money. Because when you paid your Social Security, you paid 15%. Your employer had to pay. You accumulated over a 40, 50-year period a lot of money. And then it's the old rule of 7.2. Your money, in essence, doubles every 10 years at 7%. Now, let's just make it 3.5. Okay, so realistically, I know myself, I put in like $256,000 because you get a statement. It's not like, you all can go look it up.
Right.
But the point is that money accumulated over all these years is probably $700,000-800,000 at least.
Sure.
And you act like you're doing me a favor and you might consider not taking it away from me? Oh, thank you. What a wonderful job you people in Washington have done. And this idea now, and you got the gist of the Democratic Party now, is, well, we'll vote for more national defense. Well, number one, you're not going to be here. Meaning our enemies are getting closer and closer. But number two, they don't want to do it unless we'll expand the debt.
Yeah.
Great idea. I guess they went to the same class Michelle did at Harvard.
Yeah, at Harvard, right. Yeah, they're teaching some geniuses there, aren't they? But this whole thing of changing Social Security checks to benefit checks.
Isn't that disgusting?
It is, but it also, once again, see...
The mentality.
It's to sort of condition people. The government is this benevolent thing that is giving you stuff, rather than, this hoarding monster that's taking stuff from us and giving us crumbs back.
Right.
And... So it's like Michelle said, they're changing the conversation, they're revising history, they're changing the way we talk about things, and in doing so, they're changing the mental, image that we have of things. And to see Social Security as a benefit, a lot of people don't even understand, exactly how that works.
Right.
But it's an attempt to get people to see the government as being more benevolent.
And they don't understand the compounding effect of money. So, in other words, their money, they've been putting it in over, 40, 50 years. The reality of it is, if you just average 3.5%, you're probably, you divide it in. But the point is, it probably doubles in like 20, 22 years. So for most of these people, if they put in 250, that's 500, which is $1 million. They're not doing you a favor. All we want is give me my money and keep your hands off it because I entrusted it to you, the U.S. government. Boy, was I a fool.
Well, which is another reason for, perhaps revising rejuvenating, if you will, the argument to why we should have privatized Social Security. In other words, you have your own account, and it is basically put in mutual funds and ETFs and things like that.
Or how about they just can't touch the money? How about that?
Well, that would be nice, too.
The money can go in the government account, but you don't touch it. We just get outside managers. They manage the money. What will be, but you have no access to it for any type of government program.
It should be treated the same way as pension funds are.
That's exactly right.
And if anybody, doesn't contribute the appropriate amount to the pension funds or misappropriate those funds, you go to jail.
Right. And and then also when we think of Medicare, you could look up, too. You get a statement. It tells you how much money you put in Medicare. And, if you just wonder why I'm so obsessed with my dislike of Obamacare, I know I put in hundreds of thousands into Medicare, and my deductible is growing like every American. But I think the shock and the horror of this kicks in 2016, and it's going to kick in when they get – that's why I love this election coming up. Wait till they get the bills in October and November this year for their new policies, and then wait till they get them the next year when the Democrats are running. I would be running so fast. If I was a Democrat, I said, look, we got to do something right now. This thing didn't work. You guys know it didn't work. We all lied. And
yeah, it's the Obamacare situation is a ticking time bomb because the money is running out. The rates are going up, the premiums are going up, and the number of people who are going to participate in it is going to go down, which is once again just going to put pressure on those rates to go up even more because you'll have less people paying into the pool. So it is a disaster waiting to happen, and to think that the government is going to be able to administer that program any better than any other program they administer, was just a pipe dream from the very get-go.
Yeah, Chris, when you think about it, just every day on the news, the IRS, right, nice job. Hey, they did a nice job setting up the website. What they spent $5 billion on something you could have spent $3 for?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just horrifying, and the effect to these people and to our poor. I mean, it's just money thrown out the window. And then you saw today our government, again, they were talking about how they've had $4 billion contributed toward the new green fund that the government, oh, I love this, is going to administer for grants and stuff with more money. You know,
wasted
come on.
Money.
You know this is totally wasted money. All it is really give it to them. They give it back to you as a political contribution. Your buddy gets a job, and the American public just
gets the shaft.
Eats the loss.
Gets the shaft. So it's no wonder why a guy who comes along like Donald Trump, you know, talking straight talk, saying, you know, basically he's saying the obvious. We call it straight talk, but really he's just stating the obvious. And everybody knows it's obvious. It's like the elephant in the room, and everybody's walking around.
You're looking at it.
Yeah, you know, stepping over the manure and stuff, trying to ignore it. And he's going, there's an elephant in the room, and it's crapping on the floor. And if you don't watch out, you're going to step in it. And we'll all be walking in it.
That's the U.S. government.
That's right. Exactly.
Right.
And so that definitely has an appeal to people. It always will.
Well, Chris, that's why we got to be excited. I mean, it's like this fellow may misinterpret our enthusiasm for Trump. My enthusiasm is he's just going to force the betterment of these competitors. Either you rise to the occasion, you learn to get more aggressive with these people. I mean, I loved Mitt Romney, but the reality of it was he wasn't aggressive enough. Well, Hillary, you got every target there is. I mean, this lady has violated every point of, I call trust, loyalty, etc. Oh, if you can't take her out in the sense in the political arena,
you know what would have benefited Romney would have been if one of those other candidates, Gingrich or one of the other ones, would have really just tore into him with the same arguments, if you will, that the Democrats are going to use. And they could have even said, look, Mr. Romney, you know, you got all these great ideas, but you had the dog on top of your car. And all. It would have prepared him for the fight that was coming later on. And people would have said, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, Newt Gingrich or whatever. But it would have been doing Romney a favor if he would have taken up their arguments and leveled them against him, because he would have had to come up with a response rather than waiting until it was too late.
Yeah. No, I think it was an exciting moment today.
I do too.
I'm looking forward. Now I am going to look forward to the
debate.
The debate, because
and hopefully they expand the format. They really need to change that format.
I know. They got to do something.
They got to. They cannot keep
4
that debate.
minutes a person.
They cannot keep that.
I couldn't
and that's
even
with
see
only 10 candidates for a 1-hour debate. Even if it were a 2-hour debate, they'd have all of 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
I mean, come on. You can't have 2 people have a good debate in 2 hours, much less 10. So they are going to have to figure out something else with that. Okay. All right. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and take the break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. And I'm going to tell you about a political argument that went to pot.